to the Paper Snob. Today I am going to be working on Stamp It Like It's Hot. We all have them, stamps. We all don't use them enough, or at least most of the people I hang out with don't use them enough. This year, Brianna from My Life on Paper has challenged us once a month with a technique using stamps on our layouts. This month, for the month of August, we are using a found item to stamp with. So I used to be a design team member and a member of a kit club called Scrap Goods. This was a technique-based kit club, and they are very, very missed in this industry, but they went out of business. But one of our techniques was using found items to stamp with, and they provided us with this acrylic block, and it is sticky on one side. So I have stuck some, these are hex nuts or nuts for bolts that came out of my junk drawer in the garage. So I stuck them on here, and I'm going to be using those to stamp with. And this ink pad. I was going to use that die set, but I think I'm not. I have a bunch of fussy cut flowers and butterflies. This is pattern paper from my August counterfeit kit, and I can link you to my blog below and let you see what is in my counterfeit kit, because I did take a bunch of photos and talked about it on my blog a little bit. But I pulled this is a scrap from another layout. I believe I did the layout using the other part of this in the very first month that I did 30 days of sketches. I believe that was March. And so there will be a video for that as well. And if I remember to, I will link you to that one so you can see the finished layout, because I was really happy with that layout. But I am going to be using this to do my found object stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And that is a selfie of me taken in October of 2015. So what I discovered is I have to use something that is like an ink that is very, it's not going to stay now. I sprayed spray on it to clean it. But I have to use an ink that is squishy. I tried black ink first, and that just didn't work. And so I decided to try to use the Distress Oxide inks instead on this black cardstock, because I wanted it to show up, and I wanted a squishy ink. And so I'm just going to kind of create a little bit of a background using these nuts and this stamp block. So this is kind of just a fun way to play with found items. I really thought hard, and actually for a couple of weeks, about what I might use. I had considered doing like a coffee cup and doing a layout about my beloved coffee, but I don't have a photo ready to go for that, and I just did a coffee layout for Pink Fresh Friday, so I didn't want to do another one just yet. And I thought about using bubble wrap, because I have stamped with bubble wrap in the past, but I don't have any. And my son had some that he had saved from a package, but it was virtually unusable because a lot of the bubbles were definitely flat. So I decided to try to find something that would stick to this stamp block. As you can see, as I'm going here, I'm losing them a little bit. So this is a sticky, it's almost like it has a glue dot on the bottom of it. Oops. And it has, once I clean it, I have a little piece of film that I can put over the top of it to keep it fresh, because I've had this stamp block probably for, I don't know, 10 years. I mean, Scrap Goods went out of business, I think, in 2010. I think that's right. And so I've had this at least since then. And I'm not going to do the whole page. I just want to put some, you know, texture on here a little bit with this stamping. And then I'm going to call it done. And I'm going to let this ink dry overnight and maybe hit it with a heat gun if I need to. But I just wanted to, I'm definitely losing quite a few now. Anyway, this is really fun to kind of create an interesting background for a layout. So I will let this dry and I will be back in a little bit. So I wanted to give you a good look at my pink fingers after I finished. Plus I wanted to show you where I went next while I was waiting for that background to dry. I did hole punch and do the hand stitching off camera. Now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to map my photo, and I'm using the piece of white cardstock. Ooh, no, I lied. I'm using black cardstock to mount, but it was my practice piece, so I don't waste it. And I'm just gonna plop that photo right over where I practiced at first. And I'm gonna mat it with the black, and then I'm gonna put it on that multi-color background that you see off to my right, and then I'm gonna cut it down. So one of the things I noticed with this cardstock, this was a matte finish, smooth cardstock that I got from Joann's, and I did have to take a heat gun to it to get it to dry completely. And if you were to look really close in some areas, you will see that I had a little bit of smearing because it didn't dry as quickly as I expected it to dry. So make sure that your ink is fully dry. And I also noticed that when I practiced on that black piece of cardstock, that was a piece of textured basil that dried almost immediately. The Distress Oxide soaked right up into that. So that's also a thought that you might take into consideration if you try this technique. So I am taking all of these fussy cut flowers and butterflies that I am using, and I am just kind of plopping them on there. I'm going to add a title there and a couple of other little stickers, and then this layout will virtually be finished. It goes together really quick after the techniques that I put into creating that background, the hand stitching and the found items stamping. I'm looking on this set of thickers. They're by Thickers, at least the packaging was, but they're not phrases necessarily. They're more chipboard stickers for this collection, and I wanted to add a phrase and a couple of other little bits and pieces from it to my photo, and just put a little words on it and add a tab and a couple of other small things. So I think for the most part I am mostly done. I'm going to add a sticker, a little word sticker to that tab at the top, and then I'm going to kind of sit and look at it for a few minutes more. I might dig through a couple of other things to see if there's anything else that I want to add, but I think for the most part I am happy with what I have right now. I know that I also want to add some journaling, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 pink labels from this sheet of Illustrated Faith labels. Again, I print these at home and just cut them out. So I'm pretty happy with where I'm going to put those labels, and now I'm going to take this piece of fun foam and I'm going to cut out a piece because I'm going to pop my photo up on that fun foam. Oops, I left the cap off of my glue for too long and it kind of got stuck, so you just use the little cap top and poke it back through and it works just fine, as you saw. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start building this layout. I have glued down I think one set of the flowers, and then the rest of it I just kind of pushed off to the side so that I could get it back on there later. I'm going to add foam to bits and pieces of this layout. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I'm going to add fun foam to like a couple of the layers. I'm also going to add some glue dots to the body of my butterfly. I like to do it that way. That way I can fold the butterfly down and I can put those foam dots down the body of it, and then those wings are flipped up off the page. Now my friend Christine actually does something different with hers. She puts the foam on the wings and glues the body down, and that way it looks like it's flipped up. Either way works. They both pretty much do the same thing, and it's just whichever technique that you prefer. And so I just wanted to point out that, you know, there's more than one way to do this, and neither way is absolutely the correct way. You can do it both ways and get the same result. Maybe sometimes I'm not real sure about those squares because they seem kind of gummy, and if I go back in a couple of days and it looks like they're not sticking, I will probably put liquid glue underneath them. So now I'm tucking my labels underneath the title, and I'm making sure to put the lid back on my glue this time and not leave it set because I don't want to lose my glue. I'm going to go ahead and journal on camera. I'm not saying a whole lot about the photo. It's just a selfie that I took one day. I didn't put any makeup on that day. I don't wear makeup every day. My profile picture I have a little bit of makeup on, but most days I wear absolutely none. But this day I kind of felt really pretty, and I put that shiny scarf on around my neck because a friend of mine had sent it to me, and I took a picture of it and, you know, plopped it off to her. But like I said, there's not a whole lot to say about the photo. It's just a selfie I took in October of 2015. Next, I'm going to take a piece of packaging and I'm going to cut it down with my scissors. I'm going to cover up my photo, and I'm going to add some splatters. Splatters are one of my absolute favorite finishing touches. They're easy. They add a little bit of texture and dimension to your page and can also draw your eye towards your photo depending on how you place them on the layout. And I tend to kind of place them around my photo and my embellishment clusters for this layout. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. Make sure you check out that description box below because we have a group of girls on Instagram who are participating, as well as a collaborative playlist below of the ladies on YouTube. I also linked everybody's channels who are participating in this yearly hop. Some of them will not be participating this month, but their channels are still listed below. You have a great rest of your day. Bye.